we start out with the roll call.
Okay, Karen,
Yes.
Paul,
Here.
Kate. All right, I'll come back to Kate. Jake,
Yes.
Josh,
Yes.
Larry, Raymond,
We don't have Larry Patoric, right?
Correct.
Oh, you're
I
right.
don't-
I thought I
don't
saw
see
him, and I
Larry.
think I saw Larry's name, Larry Corbus's name. Thought it was Larry Patoric when I was glancing down through. So that's my bad.
They look alike.
Come on, Paul. Yeah.
I ain't going there. All right. Let's see. Approval of the minutes from last month.
I move the minutes.
That's
I'm
Karen.
sorry, is that Karen?
Yep.
Okay,
All right. All in favor of approval?
Aye.
All right. All right. We have an approval of the minutes. Communications about Madison Public Library, about their bookmobile. Is that what it's about?
It's just that, yeah, once they got we donated the old blue bird to them, and they have decked it out and fixed it up, and they're doing a rededication. They were using it before COVID, and then during that time, I think they had some time to fix it up, and they're making heavy use out of it, so it's getting a second life. So they just wanted to extend you all the invitation.
Okay. I'll have to take
Nice.
a look and see what my calendar looks like. It'd be nice to go and celebrate something nice for a change and actually get to see people. All right. Number 5, we need the agenda. And I know I have one addition to the agenda, and this was my fault because I was thinking I had already sent something to Debbie and didn't, so that was my fault why it's not on there. But at the end of the meeting, after the foundation report, John Keister is going to be here, and he'll give a presentation on the headhunter function and how they're going to work for us. And in case we need it, because it is a hiring a personnel type issue, we can go into executive session if the board would like to ask, questions that they don't feel comfortable in a public setting. So we have that set aside as well. And you should all have a link in your email if we get to that point and we need it.
and Josh, do you want to add that after comments from the public?
Yeah, let's do it after that. That way, because once we get to that point, people don't need to stick around. Because all we'll do is if we do go into executive session, we'll just come back to adjourn it. We won't be doing anything else. So we'll do it after the comments. That works. Any other changes to the agenda?
Nope.
All right, and I need an approval of the agenda.
So moved.
I'll second.
Okay, Paul and Kate, and all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, we have a new agenda, and that brings us on that agenda to the fiscal officer's report.
Okay, I need approval for the disbursements and gifts that were in your board packet.
I move approval of the disbursements and gifts.
And I'll second. Karen.
Thank you.
Well, Karen, and that's money, so we need a roll call.
Karen,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Kate,
Yes.
Jake,
Yes.
Josh,
Yes,
Raymond,
it looks like Larry's here now. I don't know if he
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
Larry.
Larry.
I just happened to
Whoa.
notice his name pop up on my screen. So,
Hi, Larry.
Hello. Sorry I'm late.
That's
no
okay.
problem.
Did you want to vote on the disbursement of gifts?
I didn't. Sure, I looked at. Yes.
Okay, and then Raymond, I can't hear Raymond. Can everyone else hear him?
No one can hear me?
No,
Oh,
now we
now I
can.
can.
I must have been muted. Sorry about that.
That's okay. Are you a yes?
I'm a yes.
Okay, thank you.
And going on, I need approval for the change to the credit card use policy because the new law says I have to list the credit limit, and Mike's, the IT manager, needs his raised because we're paying a lot of licensing online and we're having a lot of trouble getting it through. So I'd like to raise that from 500 to 2,500.
I move the approval of the operating policy 380.
And I'll second that. Makes sense to me.
Okay, we need a roll call on that one.
Karen,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Kate,
Yes.
Jake,
Yes.
Josh,
Yes.
Larry,
Yes.
and Raymond.
Yes.
And just as a, maybe put it on your calendar, the Budget Commission will be held on August 16th. I don't have a time yet, but I will forward that as soon as I get it.
That's the one in front of the commissioners.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Great.
it's the Budget Commission.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's in front of the Budget Commission, which is the treasurer, the auditor, and the prosecutor.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
And we're usually very early. We're after Burton and Cambridge.
Yeah,
Okay.
first thing in the morning.
Okay. Anything else, Lisa?
Nope.
All right. Short and sweet. I like it. All right. On to director's report.
So first, we need approval for the continuing education assistance request for Debbie Schrock.
So moved.
Second.
All right. Jake and Paul, and that's money. So roll call.
Karen,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Kate,
Yes.
Jake,
Yes.
Josh,
Yes.
Larry,
Yes.
Raymond.
Yes.
Okay, and then there's just a bunch of updates in here. We had a lot of stuff hanging on, a lot of stragglers of the punch list, a lot of things that were mentioned in many of the OAC meetings that Kate has experienced and Karen used to be at. We went over many of these things that just never got resolved. And finally, we had occasion to visit Thompson, and I requested that Pat Canada be on site. And once we had Pat Canada with us, then things started happening. So we're resolving a lot of the issues there. And Saturday, we had a debate where they were talking about, they demanded to us that they had topsoil on that. I said, there's no way that is screened topsoil. There are 2-inch rocks all over the place. And when we got to the site, they conceded that there was not topsoil. So they will be spreading 2 inches of topsoil on Friday, or they'll be dumping it and they'll be spreading it on this Saturday and seeding. So we'll get that resolved. There's a couple of other issues that just need to get dealt with there. We were having difficulty with the door, and we resolved that pretty much right there in person with Pat Canada. So that should be done. There's a number of these issues with Bainbridge. They have really hit overdrive with the concrete work, and the parking lot should be happening. We keep saying the weather is holding right now. They were supposed to be doing stuff today based on our meetings with Sammy. We had some issues with particular soft spot in the part that hasn't been paved yet that was holding water. We had questions whether the finger drains were actually working in the catch basins. So we had to bring in a hose or else bring in a 100-gallon tank of water to just see if they were actually working. And that was resolved, and that was supposed to then mean we were working on this week, but it has not happened as of yesterday when I was on site. But concrete is getting poured. The steps we visited yesterday, guy, that feels like last week, but it was just yesterday morning, for the fire egress to go down from the door down to the lower level that the fire chief requested, and the door that has to be remedied for that. So that's happening. And then, yeah, they are finishing up. I don't know if Mike's on here. Are they done with the cell signal booster or no?
I don't think yet. Hopefully by tomorrow. They were getting the connectors put on all the cables today.
Okay.
They were mounting the exterior antenna on top of the roof. So I would think by tomorrow they should be done.
If you haven't experienced it, if you are inside Bainbridge, you have no cell signal at all. You can get a text message out. You have to push your head against the window to have a phone call or else step outside. So we've got these cell extenders, and we did the same thing at Thompson, and it made all the difference in the building. So those are pretty easy remedies, and those should be fixed. And that is pretty much it for the building projects, unless there are any questions.
Not for me.
We expect that the parking lot and the landscaping at Bainbridge should be done, according to Pat Canada when we met, and I'm pretty sure this was yesterday morning, mid-June is what he's talking. So,
Wow.
yeah. Well, it just keeps,
It does. It just keeps.
it keeps getting pushed back, and which is why we were optimistic with all the dates that we said, but we knew this is how construction goes. So,
Yeah, anybody that's built their own house knows there's always something. Always something. So. All right. Anything else, Ed?
nope, I'm done.
All right. Have you heard anything, and any of you, have you heard anything about guidance on getting back to face-to-face meetings for this type of thing? Have they sent out anything? I haven't read anything, but I didn't know if maybe you'd heard anything yet.
There's nothing yet. This is, playing with live
It changes day
ammunition.
to day, so.
It is, right. We get guidance, and then the governor gives a speech and says, we're going to reverse everything on June 2nd, and then within 2 hours, the CDC changes their guidance, and then the governor changes his guidance the next day, and we're all just trying to keep up. We will be meeting with, Ohio Library Council has a series of meetings set with all the library directors in the state on Thursday, and we'll talk about some of the things. But right now, we still are able to do the remote meetings, but I believe that it'll probably be, all those restrictions will be lifted very soon, and we should, in theory, be ready to have a meeting in person in June. But knock on wood. I don't know. I don't want to mention or say anything to
Don't want to
jinx
jinx
it.
it, yeah.
Right.
Okay. All right, thank you. And that brings us to Assistant Director's Report.
Okay, in addition to my report, I would just like to highlight the advancements made by Mary Crotty, Mike Pope, and Katie Farrell on getting the makerspace up and ready for public use. I've included the guide that Mary created, which is very nice, in my report, and they're making a lot of progress. We expect the patrons to be able to start using the makerspace and making appointments for it in mid to late June. So they're really making some great strides there. I included the support letter for Kent State Geauga for the distance learning and telemedicine grant, which we are partners for. They'll be using our space for distance learning and telemedicine appointments. And in addition, there's been a lot of meetings since Thursday of last week with managers and the administrative team on how to move forward in the light of the changing health mandates on June 2nd, not just masks, but all of the other precautions that we have put in place to keep staff safe and the public safe. And we're kind of working through how to, how the next stage of services, of public services, in light of all of the changes. And that's my report.
Okay. Do you guys anticipate any problems with the transition from everybody has masks to eventually, hopefully none of us have masks?
We're experiencing it right now. I mean, the mask, as soon as the governor reversed that, people just took off their masks. So
Yeah, I've seen it at grocery stores and stuff, so I'm not surprised you've seen it.
The language has got to be to just what it is, to recommend that all staff or anybody, get the vaccination, because that'll be your best bet to to stay safe.
And you can win the lottery.
And you
So-
can win the lottery. Yeah. That made national news.
All right. Anything else, Chris?
No, that's all. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. And that brings us up to human resources.
Hello, everyone. I have the HR actions, and I do have a reminder and comment on the HR actions, and I also realize I neglected to put something on there, so I don't know if we want to say something about it now or if I should just put it on for the June report. But first of all, as a reminder, the per personnel policy 260, performance evaluation regarding merit payments policy states that on the director's recommendations, the library board may authorize payment of a one-time merit payment based upon employees' performance evaluation. All recommendations for merit payments are reviewed by the director and assistant director to ensure fairness and consistency throughout the library system. And that's direct from that policy. So my comment is providing an additional merit, regardless of who is recommending, will go against our personnel policy 260 and will cause bias and inequity for other staff. So I just wanted to make that reminder and comment about that. And then the other thing that I neglected to put on there is that there is a retirement, and I forgot to put a retirement gift note on there that we need approval for that. So I can hold off and redo it for June if need be. So approval needed for HR actions.
Well, I move we approve the HR actions as we have them at the moment.
I'll second that.
All right. And we need a roll call for HR actions? I can't remember.
Karen,
Yes.
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Kate,
Yes.
Jake,
Yes.
Josh,
Yes.
Larry,
Yes.
Raymond,
Yes.
Okay, and then approval needed for personnel policy 643, which is staff recognition. I've actually divided that into two policies for clarity and just made some minor adjustments.
So is this the one that's the new number 642?
642 is, yes, that's the divided portion from the staff recognition. A lot of times
Okay.
people were asking for that. It was hard to find it within the in that staff recognition, and we just had more clarity involved with that.
Okay, okay, I see. I understand that a little better now. Oh, okay, I move that we approve policy 643 and 642. Would it be right to do it like that?
Yeah, because we're splitting it up into two separate, so doing them together makes sense, I think.
Well, then I do that.
I'll second.
All right, and roll call on that.
Karen,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Kate,
Yes.
Jake,
Yes.
Josh,
Yes.
Larry,
Yes.
Raymond,
Yes.
And approval needed for personnel policy 723, which is personal time, and there's just a minor update on that.
So moved.
I'll second that.
that's Kate.
Yeah, that was Kate.
Okay.
Okay. All right. I'm sorry. I was just double checking the numbers because
It's
Hold on.
7:32.
yeah, it says
Oh,
7:32 on the agenda and 7:23 on the
Right.
policy. So I was just
Oh,
making sure I wasn't having a brain fart there.
the agenda should say 7:23.
Yeah. Okay. Let's make sure the notes, meeting notes
Okay.
look right. All right. Roll call.
Karen,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Kate,
Yes.
Jake,
Yes.
Josh,
Yes.
Larry,
Yes.
Raymond.
Yes.
And that's all I have.
Okay. I think we forgot to add a spot here to talk about. Trying to decide how to put this. So the foundation.
The merit payment was included in the HR actions. That's
Was it
what I
included in the HR
Yeah.
action?
It
Yes,
was,
Okay.
It was
it's
just
an item on the
approved.
HR actions.
it was
So
on
you
the
approve
list.
Okay.
Hey, folks, can I explain something? Since this is the first time that I'm actually hearing about this as if it were something that was a big deal that needed the Becky's position. Let's just talk about Becky's position for a second. She serves two masters. To one extent, she serves me. I'm her direct supervisor in her capacity and her role as community engagement manager. That's what the library board gave her a merit bonus for. And the foundation does its own thing. They're a private foundation. This is currently a weird situation where she's got her feet in two worlds. The money that would come from, I guess, the foundation, whatever they're doing with it, they give her, I don't know, they give her a bonus. That's just a pass through to make sure it goes through PERS and gets whatever the things are that we have to report. But the foundation is an independent entity to do whatever. I mean, they could say she gets a car. They could say whatever. This isn't saying that she gets two things as an employee of the library. She's technically an employee of the foundation and an employee of the
She is
library.
not. She cannot be an employee of the foundation and the library. She is our employee. If
She
she is an
is.
employee if she is an employee of the foundation, then she is part-time for us and part-time for them.
She is, technically.
Well, then
But
technically.
that's
I
not how
can't-
the MOU works, though. The MOU, the way I read it, and I'm sorry if I'm stepping on your toes here, Lisa, but the way I read it is she works for us and then they reimburse us. I forget the exact wording, but they reimburse us for not directly for her time, but rather for the work that she does. I forget
For
exactly how it works.
administrative services is the,
Yeah,
is the
that
the
was
word in,
Okay.
from my
which is
standpoint. she
which
can't
is
be-
why they can't just hand her a check and say, here's the bonus from us. It has to come through us and we have to technically approve it. And so that's why I wanted that to be part of this discussion as a board. You know, I'll be honest with you, when we approved the bonus for her back when we did it, I was under the impression that that bonus was for her entire encompassed job. You know, the stuff that we pay half for and the stuff that they pay half for, we were approving it for that entire work. The foundation was under the impression that that was a bonus for the half that she does that they don't pay us back for, and that they wanted to give her an additional one. And so that's why I felt we needed to bring that up in the board and decide, wait a minute, are we okay with it? Two, are we setting a precedent that we don't want to get into? You know, and I don't have the answer, but I wanted it to be a discussion because I felt like, you know, this wasn't an insignificant amount of money, and this could come back to be a complaint against us as a board if we just rubber stamp it. So I think we need to discuss it.
That's why I wanted to do the reminder of the policy, because the policy does say one-time merit.
Yeah, and if it was anybody else but Becky, to my opinion, this would be a done deal. She wouldn't get a second one, and that's that. But it is, as Ed says, it's just different enough from how everything else works that I think we at least need to discuss it and decide how we want this to work. So
Larry
who
Patork
has
his hand-
opinions?
Larry has his hand up.
Well, I'm think I was trying to, I was trying to follow all this. I don't know if I did, but if the foundation is, they want to pay her additional money than what they would reimburse us for this administrative service. Is that correct? And it's coming out of their funds?
That is correct. It's coming out of the foundation cut the check, but it's a pass through of the library. Comes through
No,
the,
I understand the pass-through part, but if the way it's set up is that we charge, the library charges them for the services, but they want to give additional, in this case, a bonus to her for the performance of her services for the foundation that they're willing to pay for. We don't, other than, some appearances, as long as we document it right, but we don't have I don't want to call it right, but there's no reason why we would stop them from paying Becky some money for
Except,
what they appreciate it for.
except for the MOU, which states that the GCPL will cover the full cost of other employee benefits. So
I
that-
feel like that's about the actual health insurance and those things, not necessarily actual payment, but I don't know. I didn't scrutinize
It is
the
not
MOU.
addressed in the MOU at all.
It's not addressed, so.
So there's
The
no reason
pay-
to stop it then.
Right, the pay is addressed in the MOU is that each entity will pay a portion of the salary. Again, we should have probably had this discussion when we were agreeing with the MOU. And of course, this is a new position. This is totally different from anything else in the system. And in the end, the intention was, or the hope was, that this would be a position that the foundation would create and it would take off and she would be a fully employed foundation employee and not at all employed by the library. That was, I think, what they.
I will say in some emails, discussions back and forth, that the main problem, the reason we're here right now is just each one of us just assumed, me as part of the board and the foundation on their end, just kind of assumed how this was working, and we both assumed completely opposite ways. I had assumed that the bonus was for both sides of her job personality. They assumed the bonus we gave was just for our side of her job personality. So they just assumed they needed to come across and do this. And with COVID and everything, it took them a lot longer to get all the paperwork and ducks in a row. And that's why we're dealing with this now in May instead of when they made this decision, which I think was back in December. So we're, like everything else, COVID is causing problems.
to executive.
And we did agree in principle that going forward, we're going to work together, the board as the library board and the foundation board, to do this together. We're gonna review her and we're going to come up with a bonus as a joint thing instead of it being a completely separate one as it was at this point. So I don't think we're going to run into this exact problem with her in the future. I think this is, as Ed said, this is something we've never done this way before, and I think there's growing pains going on. And I do kind of agree with Larry. The foundation is cutting us a check, so we can make the argument that, hey, it's no money off of our budget. We didn't have any reason to stop this. I just want to make sure that we're all comfortable with that, because things being the way they are, somebody will complain somewhere down the road, and we need to be able to have a good answer if that's what we're going to do, is approve this second bonus.
Since this is an employee issue, should we be moving this to executive session?
If anybody wants to,
We are going.
I will say none of this in my mind is remotely a statement on the job Becky did. If we're just talking about, did Becky do a good job? Absolutely. End of story. Give her the money. I'm out of here.
Yeah,
This
right.
is completely in my mind just about what is the proper thing to do with the public's money.
Yes.
Right, so do I need to make a motion to suggest we move this to executive session?
If anybody feels that way, I'm fine with that. We can make that motion. Absolutely.
I move that we move this to executive session.
Second.
Okay. All right, then we need a roll call to see if we're going to go to executive session.
Well, we don't
Sorry.
put it in now, or do you want it later?
There a
We can
second?
do it. You want to do it later,
Sure.
or do you guys want to do it right now?
One like
Is there a second?
me.
Karen
Yeah,
seconded.
Karen seconded.
Kate
So
and
the
Karen.
motion was to move this discussion to executive session at the end of the meeting.
Yes.
Is that
Yes.
Okay.
That's what I'm getting now.
And now the
Okay,
roll.
so we have a motion, we have a second. Let's get a roll call to see if that's what the board wants to do.
Okay. Karen,
Yes.
Josh,
Sure.
Paul,
Nay.
Larry,
it has to, I believe it has to be unanimous.
It has to be unanimous to go to executive
You're
session.
not going to
Okay.
executive session.
okay.
Okay.
I mean, you can go ahead and do the, I'm sorry, you should go ahead and do the roll call, but
There's no point.
Okay, Larry,
No,
Kate,
Yeah.
Raymond,
No.
Jake,
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Since we're not going to go to executive session, do we want a motion to make a decision one way or the other about whether or not we're going to go through with this?
Well, you already passed that in the
We did.
HR.
You did. You already
just
approved
wanted to
the
be
HR
able to-
action.
I
Okay.
thought we were moving a discussion. It was part of the,
I know I messed up and I meant to pull that out separately. So that was my fault. And we kind of did. Yeah, we did. Is everybody okay with that? I screwed up and I didn't have this discussion before we made that vote. So that's my fault. And I apologize for that. If anybody wants to rescind that vote and have it again, let me now or forever hold your peace. And I apologize for that.
I'm confused as to what the issue really is. Are we seriously thinking about not letting the foundation give her this extra money?
no, I
The-
thought what we were going to do is have a conversation about how this all worked. And that we could do it later. We didn't have to do it now.
But you said no, so we're going to do it now, and you've got to decide a technical point. It has nothing to do with whether she gets the money or not. It has to do with a technical point that would be something that may happen again in the future. So you've got to decide it now, but you've already passed your HR.
and Josh has already said that we're,
Then you'd have to go to a motion that would rescind it. But that's about all you can do because everything else is done.
And I apologize for that. That was my
and
bad.
Josh already said that they're gonna work together in the future. And someone said that we're not thinking about not giving her what was already approved, so you're gonna deal with it in the future and you're not gonna take away now.
Right.
And the reason I voted no is because I don't even see it as a trustees issue. It's a foundation question. So
No,
unless somebody says that she got unjustly enriched and we're worried about what the foundation did, this conversation, I hopefully would take the money away from her.
it doesn't have to do with her money. It has to do with technical in terms of auditing the library and how we put it through. And if we make a decision now, it stands. And then anything in the future, which you of course don't know what's going to happen in the future, will stand with whatever technical thing you do today. So that's where it sits. Now, if you don't have a problem with that and you don't mind being audited and you don't mind getting into trouble because you did something out of order, then that's okay. But it doesn't have anything to do with the amount of money. It doesn't have anything to do with that. And it is a special case.
Well,
I don't have the law to tell you whether we're right or wrong. Maybe that's for a professional to tell you, but I don't have that. I don't know what the deal is. And you don't know the future.
I just, some of their questions, my answer is that we recognize that there was, like in Cool Hand Luke, a failure to communicate that's going to be resolved in the future. And we, a few minutes ago, we said, we're not going to take away any money now. And we're going to deal with it, so eliminate the failure to communicate in the future. And if somebody comes in an audit and said, why did you do this like this? We said, We had a failure to communicate. We had a lengthy discussion about it. We weren't going to take any money out of anybody's pocket, and we're going to be good boys good boys and girls in the future. That'd be my answer.
I'm okay with that.
Auditor.
I'm absolutely okay with that.
You like
Did
that,
I
Lisa?
write that down for the auditor?
Yeah. Do you like that, Lisa? Would that work for you?
And can I just answer Raymond's question? This all started because of our policy that says the one, it is going through our books, so I have to account for it. So I needed specific board approval. That's how this whole thing started, because I need.
Yeah, that's how it started. And then my concern was, well, wait a minute, do we want to look like we're giving two bonuses, even though we're not we are as a board and they are as a board.
Right.
I wanted us to have this discussion to make sure that we weren't going to, I wanted nobody on the board to get blindsided where somebody came back in 6 months and said, why did you pay her this bonus? You already paid her a bonus. Now everybody knows exhaustively exactly what we're talking about. Hopefully we will be able to answer that question should it come up.
I hope you will.
Don't refer to the second payment as a bonus, and you won't have paid two bonuses incidentally.
There you go.
It doesn't matter. They don't care what you call it. No, I have to show that she got paid exactly what the salary that you already approved. And if it's more, I have to show where that more came from.
All right. Well, we've got the HR
can
vote. We
call
got
it
the
whatever
HR
you want.
approval. We all voted for that. So
Okay.
that's good.
Let
And
it go.
I think we beat this horse completely to death, and it's time to move on.
Sad. Glad it wasn't on steroids.
All right. All right. All right. That we're all done with your stuff, right, Chris? Rita?
Yes,
All
HR is
right.
done.
Excellent. In that case, it's time to move on to local manager's report, which is Mike Pope.
Hey, everybody. Just wanted to give you a quick status update where we are at the copier contracts. So I'm waiting on one more bid to come in for copier hardware. But as far as the next contract, things are looking promising for us to be able to add paper cut to the hardware on vending for that contract. So paper cut is a service CleveNet offers member libraries that manages print jobs for patrons. So along with printing from the public computers and wireless printing, patrons will be able to print to any GCPL copier system-wide, and that includes sending print jobs to the library from home. Patrons can load funds onto an account maintained by CleveNet or pay on demand like they always have. So the benefits of moving to CleveNet, or I'm sorry, to PaperCut, it would allow us to get rid of Spot. So we have Spot at all of our branches, and that's how you log into the public Wi-Fi. So we'd get rid of that login, and we'd also get rid of the limit of 2 devices that patrons can connect at one time. We'd also be able to get rid of all the print release stations and the fax machines, since these functions will be built into the new copiers and vending units we would be getting as part of our next lease agreement. And it looks like we'd save the library money in the long run, since we would not need to replace the fax machine hardware, the print release station hardware, the Spot servers, and pay the yearly Spot maintenance contract. So I'm hoping to have all the bids in by the beginning of next week. I have sent everything I've received so far to Ed, Chris, and Lisa for review. And once I have everything, we'll send it your way for you all to review.
Great.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah.
Because it'll be a multi-year contract, a 5-year thing. So
Yeah, it's all 5 years.
Yeah, it'll be good. Then you won't have to deal with it for a while.
Exactly. So, that's my update on the copiers. Any questions?
No, sounds good.
Okay, cool.
All right, thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
All right, that brings us to committee reports, ad hoc facilities.
So this is a change order for the irrigation to extend the irrigation for the Chagrin Valley Herb Society bed that will be in place. It's a kind of a small one. It's one that I would have approved, but Larry Corbus suggested that just for the benefit of full disclosure and full transparency, that the board review this one and vote on it directly. And it's a change order, so you're always going to have to vote on a change for anything with the contract. Did you have further questions or discussion on that? Since there seems to be silence.
I'm looking down through to find the numbers to make sure that I'm remembering from when I looked at it earlier.
It's going to cost us $2,700.
Yes.
That is correct.
Wow. So that they can put a garden in.
Well, they're
We
already
did
going to.
approve this. We
Right.
did approve this some time ago. We had
They're-
also approved money to help them out when we were working on the budget for the building.
The project already had irrigation. That was already something that was in the GMP to do irrigation for this garden. This is to extend it further along. I don't know if that clarifies things, Paul.
How much are they extending it?
I believe it's in the diagram, which I have.
I think it was like 100 feet. Does that sound right?
Yeah, and then they're putting
100 feet and 8 more outlets.
Gets them up near Snyder. So it'll be visible, it'll all be visible from Snyder Road. Curb appeal. Think of it as curb appeal.
Basically, they're going to have plants a lot further out towards Snyder than I think we originally thought they were going to. At least that I thought they were going to, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's like Kate says, it's going to look really nice, but because it's further out there, there was no water hookups to water it, so we just need to run that line.
This is Larry Corbett. One of the reasons that I think they wanted to do that was because of the terrain. You know, they had to have enough level land to do it, and so where it was originally conceived, it was going to be down a slope, and so they needed to stretch it out for that reason.
That sounds right.
So their presentation is the next item on the agenda, so you'll be able to see right after this. So we need approval of this.
Yeah, so I need a motion,
I
or if anybody has any other concerns.
Kate can make the motion, and I'll second.
I move that we approve the extension of the irrigation for the Chagrin Valley Herb Society gardens.
And it involves money, so we need a roll call.
Okay, Karen,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Kate,
Yes.
Jake,
Yes.
Josh,
Yes.
Larry,
Yes, yes.
Raymond. Oh,
Yes.
sorry, Raymond. Okay.
Okay, we got the irrigation approved. So next is the MOU for the Herb Society. Gotta find the right page for that.
That's in your packet, yeah. This has mostly been negotiated with Kate, Chris, and Lisa, working with Alan, Kathy, Catani. And so if you guys want to take I can try to help with questions because we've been reviewing this for what feels like 3 years. But
So this doesn't really apply to the MOU part of this, but have they figured out exactly what they're going to build and how much it's going to cost them? I know they were still, last time I checked with anybody, they were still trying to figure some of those details out, but have they figured that out? Do you know?
we got an estimate from a company. So I don't know if this is the time for Kathy to talk and give a presentation. I don't know what the plan was for this. Is that because we have some of that in the packet?
Yeah, there's some diagram stuff. Yeah, if Kathy wants to talk about it, absolutely.
But just to segue only slightly, Patrick Jelly did consult with at least one outside entity. What was it, Erickson, Patrick?
Yes, Erickson Landscaping. Erickson Landscaping.
Is Kathy Catani here?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I'm here.
Did you want to talk at all about the project with the board at this point, based
Well,
off the drawings?
Pretty much everything is in the packet. We don't have an overall cost because we didn't know if you were going to build our boxes or We are working on a budget, but we have not finalized it yet.
Okay. Got it.
And the only estimate that Patrick got, what was the number, Patrick Jolly? I cannot remember. I know I
got
saw
an estimate-
40,000
I got an
somewhere.
estimate from Erickson for basically everything. So this is kind of the bells and whistles of 40,000.
Whoa.
That's with everything, and a lot of that is material to prep the land, as far as bringing in dirt, because if the boxes are going to be aesthetically pleasing and level, the ground needs to be leveled out. So there's a lot to the 40,000, but for everything, the entire project would be about 40 grand.
We just got this, they sent it at 2:37 a.m. and Patrick sent it right up to us at 7:17 this morning. So this is a little bit behind.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and I think he probably included the tea house, which we did not expect him to do, and everything else.
Right, the tea house.
Right,
is
the
in
tea
here.
house is in there, all the gardens are in there, the walkway is in there that goes between the three areas.
Well,
Again,
that shouldn't have been included either, because that's something in the future. I think
Right.
we said that.
Those are, they're itemized to a certain extent, so things can be pulled out.
Okay.
Yeah, so we can, this was just one estimate. So this is, by no means the end game on this, but it just gave us a ballpark figure so that we would know. And in theory, I believe in many of our conversations in the past, we talk about a not to exceed figure kind of thing as something to possibly talk about.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, I looked at the plans and they're going to look great when they're all said and done. Obviously, we're talking about a lot of money, so we'll have to play with that to see how that works out and what we can do. But what we have to vote on today is the memorandum of understanding between us, and that's spelled out in 12A, and basically just who's liable for what, who owns what, who has what responsibilities, and hopefully everybody on the board got a chance to read through that. And are there any questions or concerns that anybody had with that MOU?
And just to clarify, the prosecutor reviewed it as well. So this has already been through the prosecutor vetting.
Oh,
so,
good point. Good point.
So what are we in? I'm going to make a motion to approve the memorandum of understanding.
And I would second that.
All right, so we got Paul and Kate. And if there's no more questions or discussion, we can have a roll call on it.
Okay. Karen?
Yes.
Paul?
Yes.
Kate?
Yes.
Yes.
Jake? Josh?
Yes.
Larry?
Yes.
Raymond?
Yes.
All right.
The motion passes.
That passed, and that brings us to new business.
some operating policies that you want to,
Did you want me to do this, Ed?
Yeah, these are your
Okay.
baby.
Right, so we have a new operating policy for patron use of the Inspiration Station and the Mobile Memory Lab. We put them together. These are just broad policy guidelines, and then there'll be set, procedures that are in place at the building. And with the Inspiration Station maker space, we are going to try these age requirements based on the interest we're getting from Kenston and discussions with Kenston teachers. And if it doesn't work, we'll come back and amend this. But we have a lot of patron interest in these age groups that are represented for the makerspace. Are there any questions about any specifics with this?
Nope. So what do you want? You want a
Reasonable.
motion?
Yeah, what do you need from us?
We need a motion to approve this policy.
I
How
move
about-
we,
How
Go
about
ahead.
all three policies?
Sure, we can do all three. The other two are just cleaning up, taking out taking out video games and cleaning up basic circulation things. So the other two are not new, they're just cleaning them up.
Okay,
When
I
it's
move
new
I move the
house.
approval of 550, 731, and 765.
and I'll second that.
Okay,
Sure.
Paul and Kate. And roll call on those?
Karen,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Kate,
Yes.
Jake,
Yes.
Josh,
Yes.
Larry,
Yes.
Raymond.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Excellent. Board development, do we have any board development this?
No, except to
This month?
say that I had sent you all the reminder to about the OLC board, basically board development. That would be, in this case, it's Senator Serino will be speaking, and it is Thursday, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it's this Thursday. So if you are interested, it's evening, 6 o'clock, and it will be a conversation with Senator Serino.
Okay. All right, that brings us to Becky for the foundation stuff.
Hi there. Oops. Let's see here. The first item that we discussed at our meeting last week at the foundation meeting was there's been some developments with the Imagination Library. I just wanted to mention that every year the Dollywood Foundation does a international conference for the Imagination Library and all the affiliates that are involved. This year they're doing a virtual meeting, and they've asked the Geauga County Library Foundation to do a presentation on our Stay at Home and Read fundraiser that we did last fall to share our successes with virtual fundraising. So that will be a great opportunity for us to get some attention here.
Right now I'm on internet.
Oh.
Okay. All right.
Okay. So that will be happening next month. I believe it's June 14th and 15th. And then the second development that we've had is that the governor's office is going to be working with birthing hospitals across the state. There's 140 birthing hospitals in Ohio, and they really like the way that our relationship with Geauga has been going and getting our newborns that are born signed up for the Imagination Library. Right at the hospital. So they have asked us to participate in a webinar for the Ohio Hospital Association to try to get all these other hospitals on board with enrolling the kids before they even leave the hospitals in Ohio. So that's some exciting development. We're getting some international and state attention for our little Geauga County here. The second thing I wanted to let you know, speaking of our little Geauga County, is we've launched this month a program that used to be called Books and Bears. It was a kindergarten outreach program, as you're probably familiar with. We've been doing it since 2009, where we go to the kindergarten classrooms. A retired teacher would typically read a story and encourage the kindergartners to come to the library, give them a certificate. And when they got to the library, they would get a stuffed animal and a book and their own special library card. And the whole point was to get the families engaged with the library, which we had to table in the fall because, well, we really weren't allowed in the classrooms, and we certainly weren't encouraging people to come to the closed library. So we were kind of waiting to see how we could pull this off. We didn't want this kindergarten class to miss out on this tradition. So Youth Services and I have been working, and they created a fantastic video that I shared with, there's 30 kindergarten classrooms in the county at the public schools. And so they did a great little virtual story time. I was able to distribute the certificates and a letter to the parents that the teachers are distributing. And so when they come to the library, they get their own little cute little mini rascal. And also we've got a special Frog and Toad book for them, so they can take this book home with them for their own library. So I think the most rewarding experience so far has been communicating with the teachers and the principals and how excited they are to participate in this program, and they're glad that we didn't just cancel it. And the feedback and questions about summer reading coming up was very enthusiastic. So overall, it was a great project. I think they're already starting to trickle into the libraries. I think we got a report at the managers meeting that they somewhere in this weekend, at least in Chardon, in Thompson, and I think Geauga West too. So they will be parading in for their little mini rascals, hopefully here very soon, and getting their library cards. So we were proud of that project. Let's see, our thrift books campaign. On April 30th, we shipped off 6 pallets of books to be sold by our third-party online vendor. And it is 18 days later, and I just checked the website, and we've sold $950 in books already in about 2 weeks. So from shipping to today, we've already are starting to make a profit on these discards that were just piling up at the branches. So that was good news. We'll continue to do that. And the next thing I wanted to report on was some development with our partners of the foundation. We've been working very hard. We're coming to fruition here. We've worked hard on determining our leadership model for at least year 1. We've outlined what it means to be a partner and created some language around that. We have a plan for recruiting some new members, and the last piece that we're working on is the communication piece. We need to get our newsletter launched, and we are planning on, our goal is to have an announcement about the new partners group by July 1st. And that will be sort of a soft launch about what we're all about. Through summer, we hope to recruit some more volunteers. And then we are also planning an in-person event on October 2nd, fingers crossed, to kind of promote the program and do a membership push. So that's where we are with that. And I think that's about it on my agenda to report.
All right.
Can I follow up for just a second after this related to the foundation? For those who remember, when we did this experiment with Becky and this model, prior to that, and Raymond probably will remember this better than anyone because he's got the quote that I hang on to where Raymond said he was ready to drown the thing in the plastic bag because it was about dead. We've managed to build this thing back up, and there's 11 trustees that are active and doing stuff. The difference is they're independent and they're doing it on their own. They're getting, I talk to them, I sit with them, but they're driving this. This isn't being driven by the director. This is being driven by the foundation of its own accord. So I think they're doing well. I think if COVID hadn't taken, again, we're back to COVID and miscommunications that COVID creates, I think they wouldn't have had the wind taken out of their sails and they may be doing a lot better. Nevertheless, to have 11 active trustees that are doing stuff, I think some of this is certainly on the shoulders of Becky to say she's done a good job organizing this. So after being kicked through the mud a little bit there, I just want to say kudos in a publicly recorded forum to say that she's done a good job and the foundation is coming along.
Thank you, Ed.
Yeah. And yeah, Becky, I said it earlier, I'll say it again. None of this discussion has happened to this is any way a reflection on, whether you did a good or bad job. I personally think you've done a great job. It was just more of I want to make sure we had our technical ducks in a row so that we didn't get caught flat-footed by an audit or somebody coming back and complain about it. So you definitely deserve your bonus. So congratulations on getting that.
Thanks.
All right. And that brings us to comments from the public. I know we've got some guests here today. Did anybody have anything they wanted to say? Looks like Kathy, you've got your hand up.
I would just like to request that you vote on our plan, not how much you will put into the plan, but the way that would help us is that we have some fundraising going on, and if we could if we could advertise it as this is what our garden is going to be like, it would help us greatly.
So you're looking for like an approval vote, approval of your plans?
Exactly.
I don't have a problem with that. Anybody else?
You want a motion?
Yeah, let's have a motion and we'll.
I move we approve the plan for the gardens at the Bainbridge Branch Library as designed and promoted by the Chagrin Valley Herb Society.
I'll second that.
Thank you.
Okay, Kate and Karen. All right, let's do a roll call on it so we get everybody. We'll make it as official as possible.
Okay. Karen,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Kate,
Yes.
Jake,
Did we lose Jake?
Yes.
maybe.
Oh, there he is.
Jake, okay, great. Josh,
Yes.
Larry,
You're on mute, Larry. I saw his
You're
mouth
muted.
move, but nothing came out.
you can just give me a thumbs up if you want.
Yes.
Okay,
Sorry,
great.
there you go.
Raymond,
Yes.
All
motion
right.
passes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. We appreciate that greatly.
Anybody else from the public wanted to address the board? I see a hand go up in a second. It'll take me a second to figure out who that is. Kathy McClure.
You gotta unmute yourself, Kathy. Are you able to unmute yourself, Kathy? Can you type in the conversation box if you can't unmute?
Well,
She typed something here. Let's see.
yeah, she did. Let me see if I can. She asked about, is it possible the meeting may be hybrid in the future? I don't know that we have an answer for you there. We have discussed it, and I believe that has kind of been the gist of where the board would like it to go. But with the unknown nature of how everything seems to be working lately, I can't give you a definitive answer, but I think that's where we would like to get to, is to have a hybrid meeting approach.
I could say the technology will be available. We'll have that.
Yeah. Okay, good. All right, anybody else have any questions or comments for the board? I think that might be a new record, 2 people commenting in one meeting. All right. In that case, anybody that wants to leave, you're welcome to leave. We're not going to adjourn just yet because we are going to have a short presentation from John Keister. The board may vote to go into executive session for that. I'm not sure what the board, others on the board want to do, but nothing else of interest is going to happen. So anybody that wants to head on out, you're welcome to get going. This is just informational type stuff for the board at this point. Yeah, go ahead, Chris.
Is there a motion now to go into executive session, or you're going to
Well,
wait?
that's what I was going to ask next. If anybody on the board felt that we needed to be in executive session, the idea being this is talking about personnel, future personnel. If you want to take this into executive session to be able to speak freely and ask questions, we can. If no one feels that we need that, then we can just keep doing it in this one. And I had the option open to go either way, depending on the board's pleasure.
I move we go into executive session.
Yeah, I guess I have one quick question. Like, who's talked to Mr. Keister the most? And I don't quite understand what he's going to present. So It seems like it makes sense to go to executive session unless it's just a general overview, or is it more specific and detailed?
Well, I can answer that. This is John.
Oh.
Actually, it's not really so much a presentation. I wanted to have a conversation with you and start gathering some information and thoughts and things like that. So it's more of a conversation than a presentation. Probably should be an executive session, I think.
Then I
John's
second the
hair's
motion.
Gone as white as mine. Your hair is gone as white as mine.
I'm losing it.
Can we amend,
All the cool guys are white haired.
Can you have in the
seconding.
motion the exact reason that I need? And I'm looking for my paperwork. Josh, I know we talked about it, but I can't remember what it, for consideration of employment of a public employee.
Yes, that's what we came up with. Yes, that sounds right.
Is that what the motion is my question?
Yes,
Yes.
so moved.
Okay.
Hey,
So I have Paul made the motion and Kate seconded, is that correct?
that's right.
Yes.
And then you need a roll call.
You ready for roll call, Josh?
Yes. Sorry.
Okay.
Yes.
That's okay. Karen,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Kate,
Yep.
Jake,
Yep.
Josh,
Yes.
Larry. You're muted, Larry, I'm sorry. Okay, thank you.
You got the thumbs up.
Raymond,
There you go.
Yes.
thank you. Time is it?
Okay, so everybody on the board should have the link. John, I forwarded you on the link to the executive session. You should be able to just switch over to that one and we will continue on from
Let me
there.
give that a whirl. Hang on a second. Okay. Hopefully that worked.
You are not.
This is the
No.
old.
That's
You know
the
what?
old-
I don't have a link for the executive session. I know Michael Pope had sent me an email, but it was the link for the regular meeting.
Huh.
I think Josh shared it with you. John, then go ahead and send you another link.
Okay. I'm gonna leave Zoom and when I get the link, I'll click on it in email. Okay.
That's good.
See you, John.
All right, Ed.
See ya.
Bye.
Yeah, I just been, I'm like, I've got stuff everywhere.
Hello, everybody.
Still my neighbor, or are you not
Yeah,
on?
I'm on Wooden Road, Jake. Just
Oh,
down Wooden
okay.
Road.
So you're still my neighbor, but you're not where, okay. And that's gone smoothly and everything?
Yeah, yeah, it
Good.
has. It has.
Good to hear. Josh, you're on mute.
Okay, fine. I forgot to. Thank you. All right, we all got back in real quick. We just need a motion to adjourn, unless anybody has anything else they want to talk about now that we're back out of executive session.
Move to adjourn.
All right.
Second.
Jake second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Thank you everybody for your time, and I'll see you in a month, and we'll say goodbye to Raymond then.
Ray, maybe we can figure out a way to have some type of that in person.
Yeah, I mean, if